Around the world, challenging environments such as deserts, mountains, swamps and wastelands have all hindered exchanges with distant regions. But harsh conditions were never a permanent barrier to exploration. Even in the days when they had to walk, people still made epic journeys. One such journey began in Han Dynasty China when a humble official left Chang'an on an expedition to Xiyu, the western regions. He had no idea that his mission would go down in history, but he was about to pioneer a trade route that would connect east and west. The road he opened was not a single path. It was long and winding, with many byways, but it overcame natural barriers and man-made impediments to run all the way from China to the Mediterranean. Over the centuries, it has had its ups and downs, but today it has regained its historical significance and strategic importance. The route is the Silk Road. In 200 BC, Liu Bang, soon to be Emperor Gaozu of Han, rushed with an army of 320,000 to Beijing Mountain, 5 kilometers east of the city of Datung. He had just defeated his fiercest opponent, Xiang Yu. His men were veterans of hundreds of battles. Now they faced a new threat, the Xiongnu, or Huns. The Xiongnu were mounted nomads. Their horses could gallop at an average of 60 kilometers an hour. They often headed south to raid Han territory. Liu Bang was bent on defeating the Xiongnu once and for all. But when he got to Beidong Mountain, he and his army were ambushed by 400,000 Xiongnu horsemen, who besieged them for 7 days and nights. He and later Han rulers were forced to fall back on alternative strategies. One of these was He-Chin, or marriage alliances. That is, Han emperors presented the Xiongnu leaders with Han princesses as their brides. 60 or 70 years went by, and the Western Han dynasty reached the height of its power. Emperor Wu of Han was unwilling to tolerate any longer the threat that the Xiongnu posed to his empire. The imperial court prepared for war. At the same time, it developed a number of diplomatic strategies. From a Xiongnu prisoner, Emperor Wu heard of another nomadic people known as the Greater Roger. The Xiongnu had defeated the Greater Roger and forced them to move further and further westward. They were too weak to fight the Xiongnu on their own. Emperor Wu at once dispatched a high-ranking delegation to persuade the Greater Roger to join the Han Empire in launching a combined attack on the Xiongnu. In 138 BC, a delegation numbering over 100 left Chang'an to journey westward. Its leader was an ordinary official of the Western Han imperial court. However, he did not want a quiet life. He yearned for glory and had a strong sense of adventure. He was eager to explore unknown lands. His name was Zhang Qian. When Emperor Wu was looking for someone to lead the expedition, only Zhang Qian had dared to apply. He declared himself willing to go to the western regions and build an alliance with the Greater Roger. But there was little information about the Greater Roger or just where they were. The western regions themselves were known only as the domain of the goddess Shi Wangmu, Queen Mother of the West. Xiyu is a term often mentioned in ancient records. It referred to the region northwest of the Han Empire, bounded in the north by the Tian Mountains. The Xiongnu had conquered more than 30 states straddling these mountains, cutting off all contact between Xiyu and the Han Empire. The ancient Chinese believed that the mythical Kunlun Mountain in Xinyu was the highest in the world. According to legend, King Mu of Zhou once reached it in a chariot drawn by 8 horses. There he visited Shi Wangmu, exchanging poems and singing songs with her. The inspiration for Mount Kunlun was the Tian Mountains, north of Hami in Xinjiang. Until the opening of the Silk Road, these mountains were like a wall for the ancient Chinese. They knew little of the world that lay beyond them. When Jiang Qian made his visit to Shiyu, it was more often the focus of frightening rumors than of beautiful legends. Sand and dust storms were common, but the biggest problem was the Xiongnu. Jiang Qian had to cross vast regions under their direct control. It was not possible to go around them. Not surprisingly, on his first expedition, Jiang Qian and his delegation were soon intercepted by the Xiongnu. But he would not respond either to threats or to extortion. So the Xiongnu leader exiled him and his delegation to the cold northwest, where they were left to fend for themselves. Gan Fu, who was good at horseback archery, managed to shoot animals and birds to help Jiang Qian survive. Gan Fu, himself a Xiongnu, was a slave of the Marquis of Tangyi. Just like Jiang Qian, he was highly adventurous and willing to explore the unknown. In order to retain Jiang Qian, the Chunyu, the Xiongnu ruler, gave him a wife. However, Jiang Qian never forgot his mission. Jiang Qian was detained for a decade, during which he gained a good understanding of the lives, languages, customs and terrain of the western regions. Then, in 129 BC, the Xiongnu let their guard down and he managed to escape. Together with Gan Fu and others of his party, they headed westward. This was another tough journey. They had to cross the cold Gobi Desert, where gusts were swirling. Some of the group died on the way. They had to cross the Pamir Mountains, where they might not meet a single soul for days on end. Where were the greater Roger? After weeks of trekking, Jiang Qian still could not find the people he was looking for. But he reached Da Yuan in the Fergana Valley in Central Asia.
勃勃的草场骏马行，我在草原歌唱北京。谁的眼睛掠过的风景，迎风高唱五星红旗。我站在草原望北京，一望无际国泰安宁，唱出草原的好听和美丽，让这个声回荡自己。我站在草原望北京，尽情上岗心旷神怡，让心放飞着喜悦的心情，吉祥彩云献给你。我站在草原望北京，一望无际国泰安宁，唱出草原的好听和美丽，让这个声回荡自己。我站在草原望北京，尽情上岗心旷神怡，让心放飞着喜悦的心情，吉祥彩云献给你，吉祥彩云献给你。瓦蓝蓝的天上飞雄鹰，我在高岗眺